So what do you do when you want to build a cabin and the property you want to build it on is 450 miles away? Well, I'm going to build it in the garage in 8-foot by 8-foot sections. So this is the front door opening right here. I found a couple of doors on Craigslist. All the windows I found on Craigslist, really cheap. Most of them are brand new. The doors are probably $1,200, $1,500 doors. I got them for 20 bucks. I had to build a door frame myself, and just framing up the peak of the roof. So it's going to be a real simple cabin. I already have the foundation laid out where I'm going to build it and the deck built. So it's just going to be, this is literally 1/2 of the cabin. I can trim those off, and I got to build this thing in 8-foot sections. So that top piece is going to be one section, lower piece, and there's going to be one, farther over there and one over there, mirror image of this, and that'll be the front. So it's a 16 by 16 foot cabin, and then build the sides, and pretty simple. And so the idea is I'll have solid sheeted walls ready to be put up, and it shouldn't take too long to build. That's the idea. I spend 95% of the time building it in the garage, and then hopefully 5% of the time putting it together, just reassembling it. And I'll have to build the roof up there. I'm going to trim all the rafters and get all those cut, notched, make them all fit. I'm just rough laying this thing out. Actually, it's a little bit wrong, but just trying to get the idea. That's actually just some scraps I had laying around, so I gotta figure out my rafter size and how I'm gonna trim them, but what angles I want on there, notch them. Then I'm gonna make a notch and I'm actually gonna sheet it, so I'll put a notch in the sheeting where the ridge beam will go. So the idea is you just put the walls up, brace them, put the ridge beam in, and then you just throw the rafters up there, and that's the idea. I'm sure it won't be that simple, but hopefully it'll be relatively simple. Let me go over here, get another shot of it. That's quite a door opening on that side. It's a big double French door, so it takes up most of the wall on that. The other one just has a smaller window in it, but that's what I found for the front door. So 2 glass doors should let a lot of light in. Good view right there. Yeah, that's about it for now. I'll keep updating the progress. So here's the final frame. Basically what I did this time is this is how I built it. This is how I'm going to build this cabin. I believe through the winter I've been just framing it up. 2x4 construction, 16-inch centers. Pretty standard construction. The difference is for each wall, see if I can move this. Yeah, there we go. So there's the spacing right there. So basically I had to build it's a 16 by 16 foot cabin, so each wall I'm building 8-foot by 8-foot sections. So it makes it nice and even. So there's one section right. You can barely get it in the frame. There's one there. And then one here, and I gotta sheet it, so I'm gonna put some Tyvek over it and sheet it. It'll be basically built like a little shed, or like a shed. So it's not typical construction with sheathing and siding. I have to kind of keep the weight down because I have to haul this up on a trailer and tow it up. So I figured that's a good way of doing it, and then I can, if I do need to add sheeting or siding later over that, I'll just use that as sheathing. So I'm going to just be using this kind of, what do you call it? This kind of T111 looking stuff that's wafer board, LP siding, I guess, kind of the heavyweight stuff. So there's some extra pieces right there. There's the frames for the peak of the roof. I have some there. Those aren't sheeted. I have 2 over behind the shed here that are sheeted, so those are ready to go. And it's raining, but I have the rest of this. I have the rest of these things around the back side here just stacked up, so I have about, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 8x8 walls around that. Okay, got a little rain shield here. This is around the backside of the garage here. I don't know if you can't really see this, but I have a tarp covering it. It's kind of funny. There's the backside of the shop, and I have all the other walls. So there's 2 wall layer deep, so about 16 foot deep of walls tarped off. Rain's coming down pretty good, that's why I have the tarp. And of course I'll be using those. Those are just the frames underneath that other tarp. Those will be used today, or at least part of them, to finish this thing up. And so once we get ready, I'll bring a trailer over here, unload all that stuff, and then we'll try to trailer them all up to the property, about 450 miles from here. And it should be interesting. But again, I think this is a really good way of building stuff, especially when you're not near your property that you want to build it on. And especially when the weather's bad. So, you know, I have a relatively small garage. Just a small two-car garage here, and I'm literally framing up wall by wall this cabin. You know, a small 16-foot by 16-foot cabin. Semi-loft. It's going to have a half loft in it. So total height will be 16 feet tall as well. So I'll be able to make use of these 4 by 8 foot sheets of siding. But I think that's about it. This video has been a long time coming, but there should be some more action with it this year once we get some time to move the stuff up. But I'll keep everyone updated, and yeah, well, hopefully it goes good. So I think that's about all the progress so far. And maybe I'll get to clean up the shop once I get it done. Gee, what a mess. Whew. Yeah, once I get this shipped out of here, it'll clear it all out. Get that door out of here, everything. Pretty much all the stuff in here was going to be heading up there at some point. But all in good time. So a couple months from now, we should be rolling this thing out and shipping it up.